John. A name that echoes through the corridors of time. The name resonates through history, symbolizing faith, devotion, and unwavering loyalty. He was one of Jesus' closest companions, a trusted friend and confidant. A fisherman by trade, he became a fisher of men, spreading the message of love and salvation. John witnessed firsthand the miracles and teachings of Jesus, experiencing the divine power and wisdom. He was present at the Last Supper, sharing in the final moments before the crucifixion. He stood at the foot of the cross, witnessing the ultimate sacrifice of his beloved teacher. And he saw the resurrected Christ, a testament to the victory over death and the promise of eternal life.
John, the beloved disciple, went on to become a pillar of the early church, guiding and nurturing the fledgling Christian community. He wrote the Gospel of John, 3 epistles, and the Book of Revelation, leaving a lasting legacy of spiritual wisdom. His writings are filled with profound theological insights and a deep love for Jesus, offering guidance and inspiration. They offer a unique window into the heart of Christianity, revealing the essence of faith and devotion.
John's life was a testament to the transformative power of faith, showing how belief can change the course of history. His story is one of courage, persecution, and ultimately triumph, reflecting the resilience of the human spirit. It is a story that continues to inspire and challenge people of faith today, encouraging them to live with purpose and conviction. His life serves as a beacon of hope for all who seek to follow in the footsteps of Jesus, lighting the way for future generations. The Roman Empire, a vast and powerful realm, it stretched from the British Isles to the Middle East. At its heart was Rome, a bustling metropolis of over 1 million people. The Roman Empire prided itself on its laws, its engineering, and its military might. But beneath the veneer of civilization lurked a darker side. The Roman Empire was a brutal and unforgiving place. Those who dared to challenge its authority were dealt with swiftly and harshly.
During the reign of Emperor Domitian, a wave of persecution swept across the empire, targeting the fledgling Christian community. Domitian, a ruthless and paranoid ruler, viewed Christians as a threat to his authority. He demanded to be worshipped as a god. Christians who worshipped only the one true God refused. This refusal had dire consequences. They were arrested, tortured, and executed. Among those who faced Domitian's wrath was the Apostle John.
John's faith was unshakable. He had a deep and abiding trust in the teachings and miracles he had witnessed. He had seen the miracles of Jesus firsthand, miracles that defied natural laws and left no room for doubt. He had heard his teachings, words that resonated with truth and wisdom, words that promised hope and salvation. He knew the truth of the gospel, a message that spoke of love, redemption, and eternal life. And he would not be silenced. His conviction was stronger than any fear of persecution. John continued to preach the message of Jesus Christ, even in the face of persecution. His voice carried the promise of hope and the power of faith. His courage and boldness inspired other Christians to remain steadfast in their faith. They saw in him a beacon of unwavering belief. But it also drew the attention of the Roman authorities, who saw his influence as a threat to their power.
John was arrested and brought before the Roman authorities. His unwavering faith had made him a target. He was accused of atheism for refusing to acknowledge the Roman gods and sedition for preaching about a kingdom that was not of this world. These charges were grave and dangerous. His trial was a sham. The outcome was predetermined. His fate was sealed by those who feared his influence.
Domitian, eager to make an example of him, condemned John to death. The emperor's decree was final and merciless, the sentence to be boiled alive in oil. It was a punishment designed to instill fear and suppress dissent. This was a gruesome and agonizing death. The pain would be unimaginable, but John's spirit remained unbroken.
But John refused to renounce his faith. Even in the face of such a horrific fate, he stood firm in his beliefs. He knew that death was not the end. His faith assured him of a life beyond this mortal coil. He believed in the resurrection, a promise of new life and eternal glory. He believed in eternal life, a life that transcended the suffering and trials of this world. And he was prepared to die for his beliefs. His faith was his strength, his shield, and his salvation.
The day of John's execution arrived. A large crowd gathered in the hippodrome. They came to witness the spectacle of a man being boiled alive. A large cauldron of oil was placed over a roaring fire. The oil bubbled and hissed. John was brought forward in chains. He was stripped naked and thrown into the cauldron.
The crowd gasped. This was a terrible sight. They waited for John to scream in agony.
But something extraordinary happened. John did not burn. The oil did not scald him. He stood in the boiling oil, completely unharmed. The crowd was astonished. What they were witnessing defied explanation. Some whispered that it was magic. Others said it was a trick. But John's followers knew the truth. This was a miracle. God had intervened to save his servant.
This miraculous escape from death added another chapter to John's incredible story, solidifying his legacy as a testament to unwavering faith and divine protection. Domitian was furious. His attempt to make an example of John had backfired. He had only succeeded in making himself look weak and foolish, so he decided to banish John to the island of Patmos.
Patmos was a desolate and barren island. It was used as a penal colony for criminals and political prisoners.
Domitian hoped that the isolation and hardship of Patmos would break John's spirit. He was wrong.
I thrived on Patmos. I used my time in exile to pray, to meditate, and to write.
It was on Patmos that John received his most famous revelation. He was visited by an angel.
The angel showed John visions of the future, visions of heaven and hell, visions of the end of the world.
John wrote down everything he saw and heard. His writings would become the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible. John's survival in the boiling oil is a testament to the power of faith. It shows that God is able to protect his followers, even in the most dire circumstances. The Bible is full of stories of God's miraculous intervention in the lives of his people. In the Old Testament, we read about Daniel in the lion's den and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. In the New Testament, we read about Peter being delivered from prison and Paul surviving a shipwreck. These stories remind us that God is faithful to his promises. He will never leave us nor forsake us. He is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in trouble. When we face trials and tribulations, we can take comfort in knowing that God is with us. He will give us the strength to endure. He will see us through to the other side. Section 7, A Legacy of Love. This chapter delves into the profound impact of love as demonstrated through the ages, particularly in the context of Christian faith. John's story is also a testament to the power of love. His unwavering devotion serves as a beacon of hope and strength for believers everywhere.
John's love for Jesus was so strong that he was willing to die for him. His commitment was not just in words but in actions, showing the depth of his faith. He knew that Jesus had overcome the world. This belief gave him the strength to face any adversity with courage and conviction, and he knew that death had no power over him. This understanding of eternal life fueled his resolve and gave him peace.
John's love for Jesus sustained him through his trials. It was a source of comfort and strength during the darkest times. It gave him the courage to face persecution. His faith was a shield that protected him from fear and doubt, and it gave him the hope to endure. This hope was not just for survival, but for a life filled with purpose and meaning.
John's message is as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. The timeless nature of his story continues to inspire and guide us. We live in a world that is often hostile to the Christian faith. This hostility can manifest in various forms, from subtle discrimination to outright persecution. We may not face persecution in the same way that John did. However, the challenges we encounter are no less significant. But we will face challenges to our faith. These challenges test our resolve and commitment to our beliefs. We will be tempted to compromise our beliefs. The pressures of modern society can make it difficult to stay true to our faith. We will be pressured to conform to the world. Yet it is in these moments that our faith is truly tested.
But John's story reminds us that it is worth it to stand firm in our faith. His legacy encourages us to remain steadfast and unwavering. It is worth it to live for Jesus, no matter the cost. This sacrificial love is the cornerstone of a life dedicated to faith and devotion. Section 8, Enduring Relevance. John's writings continue to resonate with Christians today. His gospel is a profound meditation on the person and work of Jesus Christ. His epistles offer practical advice on how to live a godly life. And his revelation provides a glimpse into the future, offering hope and encouragement to believers. John's message is timeless. It is a message of hope, love, and victory. It is a message that has the power to transform lives. John's story reminds us that God is at work in the world. He is calling us to follow him. He is calling us to be his witnesses. He is calling us to make a difference in the world. Section 9, a call to courage. John's life is a call to courage. He faced persecution with unwavering faith. He refused to be silenced. He continued to preach the gospel even when it meant risking his life.
The world needs more people like John. People who are willing to stand up for what they believe in. People who are willing to speak out against injustice. People who are willing to share the love of Jesus with others.
We may not all be called to be apostles or prophets, but we are all called to be faithful witnesses for Jesus Christ. We are all called to make a difference in the world. We can do this by living our lives in accordance with God's will. We can do this by sharing our faith with others. And we can do this by standing up for what is right, even when it is difficult. Section 10. Conclusion, the enduring message of John. John, the beloved disciple, lived a long and fruitful life. He witnessed the birth of the Christian church. He saw the gospel spread throughout the Roman Empire, and he left behind a legacy of faith, love, and courage.
His story continues to inspire and challenge us today. It reminds us that God is faithful. It reminds us that love conquers all, and it reminds us that we are called to live lives of purpose and meaning.
Let us all strive to follow in John's footsteps. Let us be known as people of faith, love, and courage, and let us make a difference in the world for Jesus Christ.